أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the 7th episode of Chai and Recite, where today once again we are commemorating the shahadat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, Amirul Mu'mineen. Tonight is the night we truly become orphans, or the 21st night is the night we've truly become orphans, where we have lost our father, none other than our first Imam Ali alayhi salam, and we have all become orphans. And he was the father of orphans, a title that I spoke about on the previous episode. And with that, a lot of lessons come with charity, with how we can carry ourselves in our lives. And there's a countless number of lessons we can learn from Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. A big thank you to all our viewers so far for Chai and Recite. All your positive comments, your constructive advice has really been taken on board, and I'm trying to implement them episode by episode. So thank you so much. Joining in the discussions as well in the comments, that really is a help, as we can add a different perspective to our discussion as well during the show. Now, last year, you will remember Chai and Recite was on Instagram. And alhamdulillah, through people asking for it to be on YouTube, as some people don't have Instagram, we've upgraded a little bit and decided to come onto YouTube. And alhamdulillah, thanks to all your support and your love, Chai and Recite is doing well with the guests and the reciters that we've all had. And it wouldn't be the same, and it wouldn't be such a good success that it is without all of you. So thank you so much for that. A big shout out to the sponsors of Chai and Recite, Ni'ma, which is an amazing company, as I always say, originating from Orlando. And they're a company that focus on the holistic well-being of your mental, physical, and spiritual being. They have products and coaching services as well that always allow you to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's a beautiful ethos that they have. So do check them out on www.nimah.shop. And all the products carry a 5% off if you use your code Chai and Recite. And in this month of Ramadan, they're doing the very generous thing of giving a part of their proceedings towards iftar to the underprivileged. We have iftar every day like it's second nature. We don't even worry about it because we know there's going to be food on the table. There are so many of us, and there are so many in the world that worry about what they're going to have. They don't even know if food is going to be on the table. So it's, again, companies like this that we should be supporting, as they have such a positive influence on the charity side of things as well. Now, before we get into the topic for tonight, there is a poem that a dear friend of mine, Sayyid Abbas Farshori, has written all the way from Najaf. He wrote this on the 3rd of Ramadan, and I told him I would save it for today's program to recite it for all of you. So he says that each rising blade of grass, each shining shade of glass, each climbing peaked mountain, each hiding meek fountain, each burning bush, parted sea, hushed flame, and flood set free, each uprooted gate and halted sun, each halved moon and sorted sun, each particle, atom, whatever, wherever, breathes the tasbih of Fatima, now, forever. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. And as always, please, if you do enjoy the show Chai and Recite, if you've enjoyed the reciters, the surprise reciters, the special guests, the topics, please subscribe to the channel. That always helps, and inshallah, that way you'll be kept notified about the upcoming topics and new episodes as well. So today's topic is volunteer me, but my community isolates me. It's a topic that we see, or at least it's a view that I see from the youth quite a lot today, where they are encouraged to volunteer, but they shy away from volunteering sometimes because of maybe challenges they have, or maybe some grudges that they may carry. And so for that, I am honored and blessed to have my dear friend, Brother Arif Jacksi, and you guys might know him as the president of Nasimco, who's doing a fantastic job in community service himself. So let us welcome him and see how he can enlighten us. Arif, salaam alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for having me here today. Imran, it's such a pleasure to be on with you and amongst the line of others that have come before me. You've done such a great job in doing what you're doing, and may Allah bless you for all that you've done.
Ilahi, Ameen, Ilahi. Thank you so much. It's with your du'as and, with the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. And thank you so much for coming on, taking the time. I know you guys are still fasting. And just for the viewers, I have asked our international guests that if it's okay for us to drink tea, and for myself and those who aren't fasting, and they have given us the permission, and go ahead. So Arif, you know what, let's just dig right in. Once I sent the poster out today, I got quite a few comments about resonating with the topic, in the sense towards the latter part of it, where it says, my community isolates me. And I find that a lot of youth as well, they shy away from volunteering, from doing any sort of community service, because of how they've kind of been shunned away. Maybe they've had ideas, because you know what, it takes one thing, right? It takes one incident where you kind of come with an idea from the bottom of your heart, from a pure place, and then you go speak to maybe the committee in your community, in your jamaat, and it takes that one, nah, it's okay, thank you, but no, and in that way, guys shunned away, and then it just takes something. That's all it takes for someone to kind of stop. So, why do you think that happens, number one? And is there anything these individuals should or could do to kind of overcome that, maybe overlook it, or what are your thoughts on that?
So to begin with, let us pay our condolences to our 12th Imam on the martyrdom of our first and holy Imam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, being that this is his day today. I definitely listen to those, to that comment quite a bit, actually, especially coming from our youth. So when there is this opportunity to serve, of course, it is within our innate being to help others, and to be part of the community, to find whatever way we can to serve within our community. And of course, we're eager to go and be part of the community as well. We've seen our elders do it, therefore we will probably want to emulate that, being that we are from a Khoja background. We've grown up in that culture where we have seen, others amongst us also be, part of community service and giving back. And, we want to be part of that as well.
Absolutely.
But with all this vigor and all that, we want to go and be part of it. And then we come across maybe an elder or a colleague that says, we have enough hands on deck. We don't need any more distraction. We're focused. We need to get our work done. Let us, give us some space and let us do what we need to do. So with that, it kind of puts back the youth, or puts back the person that wants to, be part of the community service. What I would say is that find a part that you think would be most beneficial to others. So for example, if you feel that you have an inclination towards AV systems, or you feel like you could add to the organization's skills, go to the group of people and tell them that, listen, this is how I can add value to what you're doing already. Maybe you can just, you can mention to them what great of a job they're doing already, because community service and service such as that is not very easy to do. It is something that takes time, takes some learning as well. And we need to nurture our youth to bring and kind of replace us eventually. So when you see those kind of barriers, don't give up, because at the end of the day, we do exist to serve. We should be, we are born to interact with people. We're born to be part of our community. So try other ways or avenues in which you can serve, not necessarily just one way. There could be various ways. There could be, maybe you have a teacher skill set, you want to be part of a madrasa. You could do that. Maybe you can go into you'll have your friends working at the kitchen squad, maybe you want to join them and be part of that, So it's always this barrier that comes in because the comfort that we're in already, that we're already doing our job, maybe a new person is going to, dissuade us, maybe, go, push us away from our path of work.
Right.
But at the same time, just make sure you can go back and say how you can add value, how you can assist in other ways, not just the same way. If there's any other way, try whichever way you can get in to get, things done. And inshallah, you will be accepted. And being that you have made that effort, Allah may, will guide you and guide.
Absolutely. No, inshallah. No, I think that's really well said as well. So I think it comes from, it needs to come from both perspectives. So if you have, like you said, a youth who goes and asks and offers their services, but if they're rejected, maybe not to kind of take it in a negative way straight away. Maybe there is a reason, that individual has said the things that he has in the way that he has, perhaps. But then at the same time, the committee as well should have a responsibility that, okay, there's a youth coming in. It'll be good to have someone younger, because often, Arif, what I see, and I've experienced this myself several times, especially when I was young, I feel that when you go to a committee, naturally they're going to be older, more experienced than you. They literally, the way they look at you, it's just like, this guy's not going to know anything. Let's just not waste our time. Just say no to, and all what they'll do is they'll leave you hanging, and this is how you kind of dangle a carrot in front of a rabbit. They'll be like, oh yeah, no, great idea. We're going to let you know. And then they just don't let you know. And then you're just like, well, are we doing something? Am I going to be part of this? Am I not? And the thing is, the committee are looking at it from like, oh man, not again, not another one. Whereas the youth is just like, I can't wait. I hope they say yes. So it's like two contradicting views, which then naturally, if they, there's got to be a responsibility of how to do things properly as well. So from the committee side of things, you should follow it up at least, and I think just be direct, but also be diplomatic. If you genuinely don't need someone at that time on that particular team, there's a nice way to let them down. There's a nice way to just be gentle and be like, look, as you said, what about another project? Do you have any other interests that you can maybe channel that to another department, rather than, abruptly shutting people down. And, I've had people message me, like I said, when this poster went out, giving me examples that they've had where they know a couple of people who've left the community completely because of being shut down. And no one's like that sensitive that if someone says, oh no, then they run away. They must have been told no in quite an aggressive or rude manner in order for them to have actually left the community. So I think, would you agree that there's a responsibility on both sides when it comes to that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think volunteers or community servants need to be more open-minded to those people that want to come. So recently, for example, I had a volunteer that is part of our organization, the Simco, and she was interested in joining, in volunteering in any way, in any capacity whatsoever. So, those kind of people are hard to kind of, direct, and this is exactly what you're going to do. Just like, a new employee that goes to a job, we want to find out what their strengths and skill sets are. We want to make sure that they're most effective in that role that they're going to play.
Right.
Similarly, what I usually do when I get into, a volunteer that's interested, I find out what their skill sets are, and especially even within my team. So when I build a team of, for example, next group of, volunteers that serve the community, I ask them what they're most passionate about. Maybe they're youth and they're passionate about, youth, bringing the youth organized and, bringing them together. Yeah. Then maybe they should be the ones to lead the youth. You can't have a 40-year-old or 50-year-old leading the youth when you cannot speak their language, So what I would do is I would get that youth on board, get their ideas on how they can make an impact, and then use, kind of ask them to help the other youth in terms of recruiting them, etc. So particularly with this person that was interested just recently, she said that I was interested in volunteering, and I said, fine. So I said, once we build our initiatives, I will give you the list of initiatives to ask you what you feel would be the best fit for you. So once we built those initiatives, I kind of send it back to her. And she said, okay, I'm interested in number 7, 9, and 10, you know?
Right.
And when I took that back, we already had those initiative leads. So I sent that back to them and I said, hey, listen, we have a volunteer, prospective volunteer that wants to be part of the Simco. And just before that, I asked her, I said, what do you know about the Simco?
Mm.
She's like, nothing besides the app. You know, I just use the app and I just use it on mass timings. It's a great app, you know? And I was like, maybe you should
Yeah,
do a bit more.
just to take a quick thing there, just to plug in the app there. It is a brilliant app. I use it myself. It's got this amazing feature of the daily sadaqah, right?
Yes.
Which is so good. You can just do it direct debit, and then you don't have to kind of consciously remember every day, like it's still being done. So kudos for the app. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, and thank you. And so this app, again, the youth, you know, the youth are the ones who took this initiative and made it a reality. You know, without, you know, we can have all the ideas, but the implementation, you know, believe it or not, is all the youth. So then when this came along, when she was like, okay, fine, you know, the app, I love the app, you know, use it so often. So I said, maybe you should know a little bit more about Nasimco. This is what we stand for. This is what we do. And once I found out what her strengths were, today she is the one who leads the Sukun podcast.
Oh, wow.
In Nasimco, which comes out once every month. So alhamdulillah, this is from a volunteer that, you know, came out of really nowhere. You know, she knew a few people that knew, you know, people within the organization or, you know, directly to us, reached out. And then, you know, you don't know what value they're going to bring until unless you kind of tap into it.
Right.
You know, once you tap into it. So for example, so when you're talking about the leadership and as well as the youth, you know, kind of collide, I think the leadership needs to have an open mind. There has to be a medium of some sorts, because when the youth come to you, you know, that's the last thing you want to do is really push them down.
Right.
You know, you want to have an open mind. You want to say, okay, fine. You know what? Maybe I may not have something for you today, but let me give a little ponder about it. And then the youth on the same time have to be persistent about it too. Because if they don't go back, of course, everybody forgets, you know, people are busy. You have to go back and kind of remind them, or even say, hey, listen, if it's as little as vacuuming the floor after Niyaz or after Iftar, that's fine. The kids do it here in New York. Why not do that? You can start off in very small ways, then it'll end up becoming much larger eventually.
Absolutely. No, I think that, yeah, sorry. No, carry on, sorry.
No, also, I think it's also even a parent's responsibility and duty to really kind of enforce this to the kids at a younger age. Because then when you do that, it inculcates the value of giving back, the value of volunteering. And this will, when the child then grows up to be an adult, it's already part of their culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I think, you know, the way, like the way you just explained how that procedure went when that lady came to ask you about volunteering. Now that in my opinion is ideal. That's how things should work, because you know, and you know what, kudos to you, because you took that time out to actually go and speak to that volunteer who didn't even know that much about Nasimco bar the app, but taking, you know, and she would have responded, I can tell you 100%. She would have loved that, because she's just like, you know, Arif's like president, but he's still taking the time to talk to me, or his team are taking the time to talk to me, figure stuff out, what position's good for me. And that just makes someone feel wanted, right? Because they come in with that attitude that I want to be part of this team. And then, like, what you've gone and done is you've just put an arm around her, not literally, obviously, and you know, brought her into the team, and that's good, and that's ideal. And like you said, communities and committees, management especially, have to be open-minded. You know, as well, speaking locally in Peterborough, we've now had a couple of youngsters actually join the main management committee as well, and that's brilliant. You know, that's like a first for us to see young ones, like people like you know, my age, into that committee now. And now inshallah we'll make progress. You know, that might be a channel for more people to kind of come in and volunteer. So no, I think that's a really good point, and you know, leading by example. So, and I think, you know, kudos to you, mashallah, for doing that. And then that, and as you said, you know, it's the parents' responsibilities as well to kind of inculcate that from a young age. And I think one way of inculcating a life of service is by inculcating the love of the Ahlulbayt and love of Imam Ali alayhi salam, because through them comes that idea of service, and through them comes the lessons of serving. So what would you say would be the importance of community service? Because some people, again, it'd be like, we've got others doing it, it's okay. Is that attitude okay? Or should we all be striving in some kind, at some degree, to serve in any little way, whatever it might be? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses you with some kind of skill in your life. You're blessed with something or the other. You need to hone into that, and in my opinion, use that to serve the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam in some way or the other. So what is in your opinions, the importance of volunteering, of community service, and dedicating your life towards that?
With like I was mentioning earlier, we're part of a whole, part of the human race. Yeah, being part of the human race, we're not born alone. We live with people. There are ways that we interact with people all our lives. During our normal day-to-day lives, we're quite busy at work. We're quite busy with family life. We're quite busy with, for example, taking the kids to madrasa, sports, after school activities. But the time that you have remaining, and maybe some people don't have time that's remaining, and they have to make that time, it's really time to interact with others within your community, and find the time to really give back and to serve. Because at the end of the day, the enjoyment or the spiritual upliftment that one gets from serving others is like no other. There's our whole Aimma alayhi salam. Allah in many ways in the Qur'an has mentioned that you have to kind of give back. We have to be good people. We have to have our responsibility towards others as well, to serve others as well. And so through the lives of our imams, we've seen that quite often. So just emulating that, just taking lessons from what they've given us, is really time to really have that community service, and faith in action. So Islam is not just about faith; it's taking that faith and putting into action. And once we have that, that is what I feel is community service, because you take that faith, you not only serve your own community, you also serve humanity. And by serving humanity, you actually emulate, you actually show the teachings of the Aimma that have been taught to you through time, and as well as portray Islam in a positive image to the rest of the world. So it not only affects your own personal being or your own personal lives, it affects the lives of other people as well. So it's very important to take that step, to make sure that you have the time, or you make the time. Because a lot of times, we're busy with work, but then when you come to go to people and you say, hey, listen, would you like to help me out in this part of community service or that? It's actually the other part of what you're saying is when people want to go to serve and then they're not given that chance. There are times where you go to others and say, hey, listen, we want you to serve. And they say, no, I don't have the time or means to do that. Then how do you really, deal with that? That in itself, people need to realize that they need to seize the opportunity to serve. Because if you're given that opportunity to serve, that is a means by Allah opening that door for you to make sure that you have that opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. So to me, I would say just seize that opportunity.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really well put. And I love the idea of and the fact of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the door for you of service. And you should really grab it and take the opportunity. And if there's any one we can take an example of in our history is if you look at Bibi Fidda, what a servant she was of Sayyidah Zahra, and that was her serving her Imam, serving her a community at that time, and serving her household. And her life was just dedicated service. And look at her status right now that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given her. And it's something that we can definitely take example of. And like you said, it's looking at what skills you have. It's also taking that opportunity when it comes and realizing that when you serve, even if you make one person's life easier, or you make one person smile, or you make one person just feel at comfort, at ease because of your service, that's amazing. Like, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, it is even, when you're doing any, as reciting, if you make one person cry in Masayib, or if you make one person feel something, that's your job done, right? It's not like, in the reciting world and things, it's not all about the views. It's not about the likes anymore. It should not be that, right? It should be, if you hit one person's heart and you're doing it with a pure intention, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reward you in tenfold. Like, it's something that's it's going to be 100%. And that's, that's one of the big benefits of community service, of volunteering, the amount of thawab you get, the amount of sadaqah jariyah you can potentially do through your service as well. What other benefits would you say would be involved when it comes to volunteering? So you have your obvious one, which is obviously having the thawab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course. What else? What other benefits are there to kind of motivate people who may be watching the show to to say, actually, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good to me. I'm going to go and volunteer.
Well, not to make light of what you just said, when my own team members, when they became part of the committee, they came back to me and said, "You don't understand how my life has changed from the time that I've started serving." This is personal. These are personal stories that they've given me, and I can definitely believe that, and I attest to it, that when you take the time to give your time to Allah, Allah will not forget you, and He will give His time to you. So your time that is spent is not in vain. Whatever you do in the way of Allah is not only counted here, it is also counted hereafter. So it's up to you to seize that opportunity. Like I said before, you have to take that opportunity. Make sure you have, you make that space for such. And like I said, it's busy. My own life is quite busy as well. But at the same time, you have to make that space for giving back, because there is no reward like that. Not only satisfying to you in your spiritual level, in your heart, by giving, but also for in terms of your personal experience, and by volunteering, you're interacting with people. So it's not only a personal growth, it's also professional growth. You know how to deal with people. You know how to deal with conflict. A lot of times that we deal with in volunteerism. So when you deal in your own personal lives, your own professional lives, you can actually learn from volunteering. There's no other example I can give you other than the life experience that you get from volunteering. Because it was all you do during your day. So you look at your particular day. You start your work from 9 to 5. Okay. You finish your job, you go back home, you have your home, your time with your family, you have time with your kids, and then at the end of the night, you're done, right? So what time do you have left that is remaining? So the time that needs to be done, need to carve out, is the time for your own self, and that could be your own spiritual healing, and the time to give back to your community. So it's really just a way of carving your making your priorities known, as well as then having a good time management skill.
I think that's really good. And I love what you said about how you can gain life skills from volunteering as well, because 100%. I think that is so true. I think in your personal growth and your professional growth, you gain so many skills purely because of that interaction. And in addition to that, you have by volunteering and getting into groups and teams, you have an opportunity to make friends. There are people in our mosque who feel isolated just because they don't fit in any friend circle. And I know this personally, 100%, this exists. People like in smaller communities, if there's only like one friend circle, and if you don't fit in, and you're kind of coming to mosque thinking, oh man, who am I? I'm going to have chai on my own today. No one's going to come talk to me. Who do I go talk to? That social anxiety kind of starts kicking in. But if you serve, imagine joining a team where you're all like-minded because you're trying to aim for the same job, you're trying to do the same thing, and you can make friends, you can make new brothers, you make new sisters, and that in itself is beautiful, because then you'll have your own circle. And when that team goes out for iftar in Shahr Ramadan, you're going to get an invite by default, and people, and you find your circle. So I think that's pretty cool too.
It is so true. It is so true because when I built my team, when I was president of New York Jamaat, say about 15 years ago. So, and I was building the team. The team that I built, really, I did not know much about the people that I was basically quote unquote recruiting. Because at the end of the day, I chose a group of youngsters, and then that story will probably come later on during our discussion. But I chose a group of youngsters to lead the community together with myself.
Yeah.
And at that point, when we chose those group of youngsters, they had no experience with leading the community. So when they came on board, we taught them, on the ground, basically on the job, the skill sets. And till today, we're the best of friends.
Amazing.
Because it took that option where I did not know about them. I just knew about their personality and their character and what I felt they would make an impact.
Right.
Just like I told you before that, we look at those skill sets, and those skill sets kind of fit in those roles. And until today, mashallah, alhamdulillah, we are the best of friends. So it actually doesn't matter who you talk to at this point in time, or who your friend circles are. When it comes to the work of Allah, there's a whole different group of
SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Really nice, nicely put, and a nice way to end that first part of our discussion. Thank you so much, Arif, for coming on, and we'll inshallah come back on a little bit later. But yeah, thank you so much. So now, inshallah, we will move towards the Marsiyas, Nohas, inshallah, of Imam Ali alayhi salam, to commemorate the Shahadat. And just before we do that, I want to just talk about Imam Ali alayhi salam's loyalty. When we say the word loyalty, none other than Abu Fadl Abbas comes to mind. But we've also had the saying that anything you are in life, any success that you have become, is because of your father. And if Hazrat Abbas has been given that title of loyalty, imagine how much loyalty was flooding in the blood of Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam. And we see this when he's with Rasulullah. Especially, if you look at the night of Hijrah, when Rasulullah and Imam Ali, they knew that the men were coming to attack Rasulullah, and Imam Ali volunteers to sleep in Rasulullah's bed, where he wears Rasulullah's garments. And in some riwayat, it also says that when those men came and they looked in the bed, and they obviously assumed it's the Prophet, they did what they would actually normally do once in a while. They would come to the Prophet's house and they would throw stones at Rasulullah while sleeping. Imagine how uncomfortable that would be, how painful it would be. And Imam Ali would start crying when he was there and at that night, because he was thinking, Rasulullah doesn't even say, he never said anything, but look at how much abuse he was getting. But Imam Ali alayhi salam withstood that, didn't say anything, and was ready to die on that night for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And it even went on to say that that was the best night's sleep he ever had. Subhanallah, the amount of love, loyalty that was coming from Imam Ali alayhi salam, and then which obviously led to his demise when he was struck by Ibn Muljim la'natullah with a poisonous sword on the day of 19th of Ramadan, where Imam was in sujood at Fajr Salah, and he was struck. And when Ibn Muljim was arrested, Imam Ali was still so generous, so merciful to tell them that, look, let him go, give him a drink of water, he's probably tired. There's so many lessons we can learn from Amirul Mu'mineen. And then 2 days later, as we know, he passes away, but then also leaves a will for Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein alayhi salam, where he tells them that, look, don't get I'm paraphrasing, of course, don't get sucked into this dunya, don't get fooled by this dunya, and don't be sorry for something that you were denied in this dunya, because at the end of the day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners, and he knows what is best for us, and we should really apply that in our life today, inshallah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So let us first introduce our surprise reciter for tonight, my dear friend and a very talented, mashallah, shair of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam, Janab Sayyid Misam Ali Mahdi. So we'll invite him. Assalamu alaikum, bhai, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Alhamdulillah, doing well. How about yourself?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. It's good to see you, bro. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're very busy, but it's an honor to always have you.
Jazakallah. It's an honor to be here, and it's always an honor whenever you ask for services, alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair. So, Misam bhai, this topic of volunteering, what are your thoughts on the idea of volunteering? You know, should we do it? Of course, I mean, of course we should, but what kind of attitude should we have towards volunteering, in your opinion?
I think volunteering as a whole is something really beautiful because it's something you do out of your passion or love for something. You don't expect something in return for what you've done, as opposed to a job or a business, for example. You expect profit, you expect some sort of tangible rewards or intangible rewards. Obviously, with volunteering, you get the intangible reward, which is your thawab at the end of the day, but you don't have something physical to motivate you to do it, which makes it even more beautiful, I think, because it's something you do with your heart and your passion.
Subhanallah, really, really nicely put. We've had some comments as well on YouTube. Inshallah, when we have Brother Arif come back, we'll discuss more of that. So, Sayyid Misam, we're very excited to listen to you. So just give us a bit of an intro of what you're going to be reciting, and inshallah, we'd love to hear.
Okay, so this kalam is from a different perspective of the Masahib of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So obviously we cry and mourn for Imam Ali alayhi salam in these days due to the tragedy that befell in the Masjid of Kufa. However, on the prayer mat after being struck on his head, who is Imam Ali alayhi salam remembering, and what moment is he remembering at that specific time? So that's what I'm going to be presenting in this kalam. Bar Muhammad wa ala Muhammad sallallahu.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
چل گئی تیغِ ستم ہو گئے زخمی مولا روح حیدر سے مگر آنے لگی یہی صدا لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے جہاں ہوئی تھی بطول زخمی جہاں ہوئی تھی بطول زخمی علی کی نظروں میں بس وہ در ہے علی کی نظروں میں بس وہ در ہے لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے ٹپک رہا ہے لہو جبی سے علی کا سر ہو گیا دو پارا ٹپک رہا ہے لہو جبی سے علی کا سر ہو گیا دو پارا مگر ہے دل اب بھی پارا پارا مگر ہے دل اب بھی پارا پارا بطول کے غم کا یہ اثر ہے بطول کے غم کا یہ اثر ہے لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے وہ قتل محسن وہ سہم بچے وہ جلتے در کے بھڑکتے شعلے وہ قتل محسن وہ سہم بچے وہ جلتے در کے بھڑکتے شعلے ہیں اب بھی تازہ یہ سب مناظر ہے اب بھی تازہ یہ سب مناظر علی کا دل اب بھی نوحہ گر ہے علی کا دل اب بھی نوحہ گر ہے لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے، اور نشان دیوار پر زمیں پر وہ جس کے ہر روز دیکھتا تھا، نشان دیوار پر زمیں پر وہ جس کے ہر روز دیکھتا تھا، ہے خون زہرا نظر میں اس کی، ہے خون زہرا نظر میں اس کی، وہ جب کہ خود اپنے خون میں تر ہے، وہ جب کہ خود اپنے خون میں تر ہے، لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے، اور گرے مصلے پہ ساتھ خون کے، جو خون کے آنسو بیاد زہرا، گرے مصلے پہ ساتھ خون کے، جو خون کے آنسو بیاد زہرا، عجیب منظر ہے یہ علی کی، عجیب منظر ہے یہ علی کی، رکی ہوئی ان پہ ہی نظر ہے، رکی ہوئی ان پہ ہی نظر ہے، لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے یاد بازو پہ سیدہ کے، لگایا ظالم نے کیسے دررا، ہے یاد بازو پہ سیدہ کے، لگایا ظالم نے کیسے دررا، اسی لیے سر پہ وار سہ کر، اسی لیے سر پہ وار سہ کر، علی کی اشکوں سے چشم تر ہے، علی کی اشکوں سے چشم تر ہے، لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے۔ Last couple of verses of Musa'ib inshallah۔ کبھی وہ یاد آئی زخمی حالت، کبھی وہ بے وقت کی ضعیفی، کبھی وہ یاد آئی زخمی حالت، کبھی وہ بے وقت کی ضعیفی، کبھی تصور کو خون رلاتی، کبھی تصور کو خون رلاتی، وہ فاطمہ کی جھکی کمر ہے، وہ فاطمہ کی جھکی کمر ہے، لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے، اور ہوئی جو ہی آنکھیں بند میسم، علی نے دیکھا ایک اور مقتل، ہوئی جو ہی آنکھیں بند میسم، علی نے دیکھا ایک اور مقتل، کہ شام میں بنت فاطمہ کا، کہ شام میں بنت فاطمہ کا، شرابیوں میں برہنہ سر ہے، شرابیوں میں برہنہ سر ہے، لگی ہے مسجد میں ضرب لیکن علی کا مقتل علی کا گھر ہے۔ اللهم صل على
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. Jazakallah, Sayyid Misam. Beautiful as always, mashallah. May Mawla give you more and more. And just for our viewers to know that Misam Bhai wrote this kalam himself, as he does all his work, mashallah. May Allah give you more and bless you with more and more taqat in your pen to write the beautiful poetry. And Misam Bhai told me before that his voice wasn't up to scratch. Bro, honestly, mashallah, BB just gave you so much ata, and we couldn't even tell. So thank you so much for coming on.
Bro. I mean, we didn't put say these last 3-4 days consecutively, and however I recite is all down to the karam and the generosity. Alhamdulillah.
Good, no, mashallah, and keep it up, and may Allah bless you. And bro, thank you so much again for coming on. Really appreciate that.
Jazakallah.
Thank you. That was amazing by Sayyid Misam. And next we have a young brother from Toronto. Well, not Toronto, I think in Canada. And we welcome him. We have brother Hussein Mirza. So we're going to welcome him, and let's see hear his beautiful voice. Assalamu alaikum, Hussein. How are you?
Alaikum assalam. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much. How's your fast going so far?
It's going well.
Good. And we're excited to. I'm excited to hear what you're going to recite for us. So give us a little bit of an intro. Just tell us what you're reciting, and then Bismillah. I can't wait.
I'm reading As-Salam by Misam Abbas.
MashaAllah. Bismillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
بہتا ہے خون حیدر کوفے میں کربلا میں بہتا ہے خون حیدر کوفے میں کربلا میں زہرا کا گھر لٹا ہے ہائے راہ خدا میں کوفے میں کربلا میں ایک فجر پر ہے سجدہ ایک سجدہ عصر پر ہے ایک سمت پر ہے بیٹا ایک سمت پہ پدر ہے کیا فرق ہے بتاؤ دونوں پہ اس جفا میں کوفے میں کربلا میں کوفے میں مرتضیٰ کی بیٹی پہ ہے یتیمی شبیر کی یتیمہ کرب و بلا میں اجڑی ہے زینب و سکینہ ایک درد کی فضا میں کوفے میں کربلا میں کلثوم اور زینب پڑھتی رہی ہے نوحہ بابا کو زخمی دیکھا بھائی کو زخمی دیکھا منظر ہے ایک جیسا اس دہر بے وفا میں کوفے میں کربلا میں معلوم تھا علی کو سجدہ نہ ہوگا پورا سرور کو بھی پتا ہے اب آخری ہے سجدہ سر کو جھکایا پھر بھی تعظیم کبریا میں کوفے میں کربلا میں بہتا ہے خون حیدر کوفے میں کربلا میں ہے قاسم کے ہوں وہ ٹکڑے یا ہو گلو اصغر اکبر کا ہو وہ سینہ یا بازو دلاور عمران کا خون بہائے ہے بغض مرتضیٰ میں کوفے میں کربلا میں بہتا ہے خون حیدر کوفے میں کربلا میں زہرا کا گھر لٹا ہے ہائے راہ خدا ہے میں کوفے میں کربلا میں بہتا ہے خون حیدر کوفے میں کربلا میں بر محمد والے محمد صلوات
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. MashaAllah, Hussein, you really recited that so well. I think Sayyid Misam will agree with me as well, that you
Very
recited that
nice, mashallah.
really, honestly, really good. A lot of potential, and keep practicing. You can see the love of Ahlulbayt alayhi salam in your heart whilst you're reciting. So keep it up, inshallah. And I pray that Allah gives your voice so much more strength, and you more than already it is. And inshallah, keep reciting. Inshallah. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And inshallah, we'll be hearing your brother Kumail after this in the second part, inshallah. So we'll get him ready. So thank you so much. And finally, we have with us another Shair Ahlulbayt who is from Dar es Salaam, Janab Jafar Fazal, who is going to be joining us. So let's welcome him. Assalamu alaikum, Jafar bhai.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I know it's late over there, so thank you so much for being patient with me and the show. But
No
we're very much looking forward to what you're going to be reciting. So please give us a little bit of an introduction, and then inshallah, love to hear
It's a
it.
service for Ahlulbayt, so we are ready anytime to serve Ahlulbayt.
Ahsant, mashallah.
So, inshallah, today I'll be reciting the situation when Imam Ali was struck. What was the situation? If you allow me, I'll recite Marsya 2-3 bunts and then Nohas 2-3 bunts.
Bismillah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Hai Qayamat ka hai sama, Hai Qayamat ka hai sama, Qatl huwe sajde mein Sher Khuda, Hai Qayamat ka hai sama. مسجد کوفہ بھی ہے نوحہ کنا، منبر و محراب ہوئے غم زدہ، مسجد کوفہ بھی ہے نوحہ کنا، منبر و محراب ہوئے غم زدہ، گونجا فضاؤں میں بھی نوحہ صدا، ہائے قیامت کا ہے سما، دیکھا جو منظر تو یہ بولے حسن، زخمی ہوئے سجدے میں میرے پدر، دیکھا جو منظر تو یہ بولے حسن، زخمی ہوئے سجدے میں میرے پدر، ظلم میرے بابا پہ کیا ہو گیا، ہائے قیامت کا ہے سما، زینب و کلثوم نے رو کر کہا، ظلم روزدار پہ کیسا ہوا، زینب و کلثوم نے رو کر کہا، ظلم روزدار پہ کیسا ہوا، بابا کے سر سے ہے خون رواں، ہائے قیامت کا ہے سما، حق سے کرے آئی جا پر دعا، پہنچ نجف شام کر وہ بلا، حق سے کرے آؤ جعفر دعا پہنچے نجف شام کے وہ بلا تیرا ہے اب آسرا شیر خدا ہائے قیامت کا ہے سما قتل ہوئے سجدے میں شیر خدا ہائے قیامت کا ہے سما اور محمد و آل محمد صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
یا علی یا علی یا علی یا علی مولا علی کا ماتم در گئے بپا ہے یار مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے یار حیدر کے غم میں دو جہاں بے غم زدہ ہے یار مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے یار ضربت علی کو جب لگی کعبہ لرز اٹھا ضربت علی کو جب لگی کعبہ لرز اٹھا سجدے میں ظلم مولا پہ کیسا ہوا ہے آج مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے آج مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے زینب نے رو کے نوحہ کیا ہائے بابا جان زینب نے رو کے نوحہ کیا ہائے بابا جان کیوں سر سے خون بابا یوں بہ رہا ہے مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے نوحہ کو نہ ہے شتو ماتم کو نہ زمین نوحہ کو نہ ہے شتو ماتم کو نہ زمین فرش ازالی کا گر گئے بچھا ہے آج موت علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے آج غازی نے رو کے نوحہ کیا اے بابا جان غازی نے رو کے نوحہ کیا اے بابا جان سر سے میرے ہے بابا کا سایہ اٹھا ہے مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے ماں فاطمہ نے جعفر تم کو دعائیں دی ماں فاطمہ نے جعفر تم کو دعائیں دی مولا علی کا نوحہ تم نے لکھا ہے آج مولا علی کا ماتم گر گئے بپا ہے محمد و آل محمد صلوات
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Jazakallah, Jafar Bhai. Thank you so much. It's
Same
such
to God.
beautiful recitation and poetry as well. May Mawla bless you.
Welcome,
And
Nasir.
I know it's late, but thank you so much for taking part in this
Jazakallah khair.
mehfil. Jazakallah khair. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
Take care. Khuda Hafiz. Khuda Hafiz. Amazing. So, being conscious of the time, inshallah, we'll get my dear brother Arif back on and continue our discussion. Arif, firstly, amazing recitations, right? So far.
Beautiful, beautiful. All three of them had amazing recitations, and especially on the commemoration of Imam Ali's Shahada. It's so befitting. Where do you get all these reciters from? That was, I've always been wondering, because you have from my neck of the woods, from Africa, and then from
So-
yeah, all over.
So, Alhamdulillah, I mean, a fair few of them are my dear personal friends, such as Said Misam as well, and I know Jafar Bhai as well. But then for the young ones as well, because I really would like the young ones to kind of have a platform as well to kind of showcase and recite, and, especially for our Ahlulbayt alayhi salam. And before Ramadan, I sent out a link, Google Forms to sign up with their preferred dates and stuff. Alhamdulillah, you know what? In 3 days, it all got filled up, and it reached further and wider than I could imagine. Like I said, it went to your neck of the woods. We had someone from Rwanda, some people in Pakistan, India. So it's all their blessing, alhamdulillah, that this reaches where it has. So yeah, that's how they. And now I get to know them, and now I become their friends and the contact. Alhamdulillah. I'm
Yeah,
blessed.
voice has competition for sure.
Yeah, inshallah. Conversation for another day, I think. That kind of thing. So, so let's, there's a few comments on, there's a couple of comments on YouTube where someone says that sometimes getting turned away from volunteering is a test in itself to see how much you really want to serve. If you're willing to go that extra mile to find a way to serve and help in your own capacity. I think that's a really a good way of thinking about it. And we also have another comment from Bande Khuda, and I think you'll find why they've put it as Bande Khuda. So they say that sometimes the youth come out of nowhere and expect to take big positions. Be humble, partake in the programs, be known to the community, young and old. You are more likely to be accepted. Interesting. What do you think of that?
Could you repeat that again?
Yeah, so the comment reads, sometimes the youth come from nowhere and expect to take on big positions. Be humble, partake in programs, and be known to the community so that you are more likely to be accepted.
Well, there's again, there's flip sides to both of that story. To that comment, so for example, yeah, you initially, when the youth want to join in, they should take some baby steps in joining. It's I'll give you my personal example, for example, my personal story, for example.
Sure.
When I wanted to, be part of the community, I always had this, I always wanted to be part. And I started from a young age, obviously, when I was back in East Africa. I had it became natural for me to be part of an organization, but then I lost touch because then college, etc. And then I came to New York, and I was feeling, that I was missing out on giving back.
Right.
And the first call that came to me was for the position of joint secretary.
Okay.
And I was like, wow, I haven't even been in a committee, and here I am being asked to become the joint secretary. And I was like, well, I have to find out first what this involves, because I'm not sure if I'm ready for this. I don't write minute meetings. I cannot give speeches on the podium. I haven't done all this stuff, and that's what the secretaries do,
Yeah.
So I talked to the other seasoned joint secretary, who was also, going to be a co-secretary at that time. And he was pretty seasoned. He's been in the Jamaat for, a few years already. I asked him, so what am I getting into, He said, don't worry, you just be my assistant. I'll just, guide you. Don't worry about it. I was like, okay, fine. As long as you're there, on the podium, writing minutes, I'll assist you, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So, okay. Long story short, I end up becoming elected as the joint secretary of the Jamaat, and an elder person of my community comes to me and he says, Papa, do you know what role you've undertaken? I said, yeah, I think I do. I'm the joint secretary of, of so and so. And it was like, the joint secretary is the neck of the body. Without the neck, there is no head or there is no body.
Yeah.
So therefore, you hold the most important part of the Jamaat. I was like, my God, look at
Yeah.
that.
Wow. Yeah.
So having to say to that, I mean, of course, the youth want to get in and want to get involved in whichever capacity they do.
Mm.
However, they should realize what they're getting into, first of all. And secondly, for the ones that are, that are in the community, they should have this open mind where they can teach the youth, even though they want to take some whatever step they want to take as a position, they should have the open mind of teaching them on the job as well, even if they don't have any experience. You'll be surprised on what they can bring to the table.
Yeah, good. No, I think that's a really good way to put it, and an answer to that comment. So for sure, and I think you mentioned those two guys. I think if you have any other inspiring stories, of individuals who kind of rose to the top, would love to hear some, including yours if you wish.
Yeah, well, so for mine, for example, I was part of the Moshi Jamaat.
Okay.
And when I was part of the Jamaat, I used to watch this group of elders that would meet up, and they were called the Golden Crescent Group. Okay. And I don't know if you've heard of them.
No, I know they like their names though. Everywhere you go, there's one group that have their own names,
Yeah, no, but they were doing some good work,
Okay.
They had done their part of charity work, etc. I don't know exactly what they did because obviously I was very young at that time, but I just remember them meeting in a certain room, in a conference style meeting, and I was always in awe of that. And I said, you know what, I want to be part of this one day, and so while I was there, there was a youth group that was formed, and it was already existing, and they were looking for a chairman or a leader. Okay. And they came to me and they said, oh, would you like to lead this group? And I was only 15 at that time. And I said, I don't know anything about this group, let alone leading it.
Right.
So again, long story short, I became elected as their chair, and I had no idea what I was doing because I was put in between on the main desk and with my secretary and vice chair on either side. And here I am, talking to the group of youth who are older than me at this point, and we're trying to figure out ways in which to get involved in the community, etc. And to be honest, I don't remember doing much, in that group, but just the fact that I was given that opportunity led to baby steps of me being involved in other things as well. So alhamdulillah, I became the joint secretary, and then the vice president, and then the president of New York Jamaat. Amazing. And then alhamdulillah, I was given the opportunity to serve as the Simcoe executive counselor, and then as vice president, and now the president, alhamdulillah. So it's whenever a youth shows that inclination of being part of a community, give them that opportunity. Maybe as small as taking the more after namaz, picking up that, it's just something as small as that can really lead to a lot of
absolutely. And I think it's also the I mean, like, your journey, phenomenal. Like, come on, so much that you've been through, but all would have started with though you were put into the secretary position or the joint secretary position first, regardless, that intention you would have had to give back was pretty pure, because like you said, coming back from Africa, you were missing that, right? You're missing giving back, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens. He's there, right? And all you need to do is ask, and with that pure intention, you're given the opportunity. And I think that's a really nice lesson for all to take, that make an intention, make a niyyah, and make a pure niyyah as well, to serve, to give back to the community. And then, like you said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the doors for you. And then it's about you just taking that opportunity, which is very, very important. And just I guess to close off, one of the things that was on my mind, and again, I experienced this in my roles that I am in some particular groups, that I find sometimes when people take on roles, they take it on, but then it's almost like a tick box exercise. It's not okay. They don't really do anything. And I know I probably sound a bit, maybe not fair or an unfair statement, but I've witnessed this and I've experienced this. Like, you put your heart and soul into planning an event. And then when it comes to, for example, the marketing element of it, or the, people who need to promote it or help you promote it, because you can't do anything like a promotion thing single-handedly. It needs to be like going to Jamaat levels and spread about this, that, the other. And, you feel that people are just like brushing it under the carpet, and it's just like, okay, you've made an event, tick box. If you get signups, you get signups. If not, okay, whatever. It's not our problem. Do you find, I find the attitude quite, it's frustrating, number one. And, it's like, why take on the role if you don't have an intention to carry on? So you do, and then you might be taking someone's spot who actually wants to work. Do you find that as well, that people have that kind of nonchalant sort of attitude?
So is this while you're within the community, or is this from outside? Meaning that is it, for example, a program that you're doing, you want maybe a local Jamaat to promote your
right. So yeah, this is a very personal thing, actually. This is something that I've planned something, and now when it comes to like for the Jamaats to now spread it, I'm finding like it's just like brick walls, and I'm like, and the deadlines are coming up, and if we don't make it, we lose a lot of money, and no one seems to understand or care, really. That's how I feel, sometimes.
So to be quite honest, whenever organizations have approached Simco to do some similar stuff, and of course, and I feel like the weight that is carried by an organization such as Simco is huge, and so is a responsibility. So when an organization does come to us, we really have to vet those kind of organizations, or we have to vet those individuals that are coming through, because at the end of the day, we carry the responsibility of promoting that group or that individual. Right. So we have to make sure that all T's are crossed and I's are dotted before we promote those kind of events or organizations or individuals. So similarly, maybe local Jamaats seem to think in a similar way, whereby what is their take in it?
So let me put a little another factor into it. So this is a COEG event. So me, alhamdulillah, I've had the honor of joining COEG. So it's a COEG event that we've organized, which now overlooks all the other Jamaats. Now I think now I like to listen to, because so it's not coming from like a private kind of thing. It's coming from the top.
So from COEG trying to implement it within Jamaats?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, got it. Well, you have to have the buy-in from the Jamaats, right? Because at the end of the day, they need to fit it within their own curriculum, within their own agendas, within their own programming as well. Right. So a lot of times, even we in the Simco, if we're doing an event or a certain program, we have to get the buy-in from the Jamaats. Right. The more better thing would be to have a meeting with them one-on-one. So, for example, if you have to either have a Zoom meeting with all the Jamaats together to really tell them that this is the initiative we're taking up, we'd like you to promote it, we'd like, a space in your WhatsApp broadcast or in your email list or whatever, more likely they will, hopefully, take it on board and promote that event, but it's really just a matter of communicating, not expecting that you'll get it, however, but if you do communicate, then hopefully that you will,
So it's adding like that personal touch to it as well, to kind of, and also create a bond in that whilst you're doing that as well. So
it's not just sense. By email or via WhatsApp or via, it's got to be pick up the phone, talk to them, explain to them what the benefits of the community is going to be, and then hopefully that they will buy into it.
Perfect. Amazing. Arif, this has been an absolutely amazing conversation. I've really learned a lot from yourself, and I'm sure all the viewers have as well been inspired as well. Any last thoughts at all before we close up?
Well, just like I said, seize the opportunity. Whenever there's an opportunity that comes your way, even if it's huge, like the joint secretary role that I had to take, learn on the job, and do it. Just say, just take that as a sign from Allah to give to your community, because there's no other way other than your own push to be part and involved. If it comes on your lap, just grab it and go with it, inshallah.
Perfect.
And
Inshallah,
doors will
inshallah.
open up, and Allah will guide you at the end of the day. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Arif, for coming on and really taking your time to come and spend it with Chai and Recite. And it's been fun, and I hope it's been good for you too.
yes,
And inshallah, at some point again, soon, inshallah.
inshallah.
Thank you so
Inshallah,
much, bro. Take care of yourself, and we'll speak soon.
Hafiz.
Thank you so much. Mashallah, that was what an amazing discussion. I think an important one as well that we needed, to understand perspectives. And as we've seen that Arif, being the president of Nasimco, has gone through all of these stages, and dealing with different perspectives, dealing with different personalities. And it's a learning tool as well. Once you get into community service, you progress yourself and, you become a better version of yourself through self-growth and professional growth as well. And the main message being that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open doors of service for you. It is up to us to now grab that and take on those roles to serve our communities in any capacity we can, because that is going to be what's going to help us in the day of judgment, inshallah. So perfect. So now, inshallah, let's do finish off. I'm going to call upon Kumail Mirza, who is another, the brother of Hussein Mirza, who recited earlier, from Canada, and he's going to join us to commemorate the Shahadat of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Kumail, salamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. So Kumail, before you recite, just what about your point of view on volunteering? Do you have any opinions, or have you been involved with anything to do with the community to help out or anything like that? And what should somebody your age's attitude should be towards that?
Yeah, I think volunteering is very important, and we should try doing as much as possible. I've volunteered a bit in my community around here, and yeah, just trying to help out around is important and really good to do.
Good, awesome. That's really nice to hear. Thank you so much. So I'm excited to hear what you're going to recite for us. So just give us a bit of a introduction as to what you're going to be reciting, and then ready to hear you.
Yeah, I've got a kalam by Raza Abbas Edi tonight for the 21st of Ramadan.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
रुख से एक बार कफन और हटा दो भैया, रुख से एक बार कफन और हटा दो भैया, मेरे बाबा का मुझे चेहरा दिखा दो भैया, मेरे बाबा का मुझे चेहरा दिखा दो भैया। आज बाबा जो मेरे घर से चले जाएंगे, फिर मुझे शाम गरीबा में नजर आएंगे, इतने दिन कैसे गुजारूंगी बता दो भैया, मेरे बाबा का मुझे चेहरा दिखा दो भैया। जैसे अम्मा की रिदा में थी शिफाना आना की, क्या ये मुमकिन है कि उठ जाए मेरे बाबा भी, मेरी चादर मेरे बाबा को उड़ा दो भैया, मेरे बाबा का मुझे चेहरा दिखा दो भैया। हाय शबीर से ज़ैनब نے کہا رو رو کر سونا لگتا ہے اماں میں کہ بنا بابا کا سر پہ بابا کے اماں تو سجا دو بھیا میرے بابا کا مجھے چہرہ دکھا دو بھیا آ رہی ہوگی بقیہ سے صدا سن کے میری سر پہ بابا کے نہ پڑ جائے نظر اماں کی زخم اماں کی نگاہوں سے چھپا دو بھیا میرے بابا کا مجھے چہرہ دکھا دو بھیا غم میں بابا کے تڑپتا ہے ذرا دیکھو تو دور بیٹھا ہے بلا لاؤ میرے غازی کو پاس کچھ دیر تو بابا کے بٹھا دو بھیا میرے بابا کا مجھے چہرہ دکھا دو بھیا رخ سے ایک بار کفن اور ہٹا دو بھیا میرے بابا کا مجھے چہرہ دکھا دو بھیا برمہون وال محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farjahum. MashaAllah, Kumail, that was beautiful. Really, really well. And do you and Hussein recite together as well sometimes?
Once in a while, Marcia, yes.
Good. I feel like you both would sound so nice and powerful together, inshallah. Keep it up. May Allah bless your parents as well, who have obviously instilled this love of the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam within you, and keep it up. Always keep reciting, and always remember that this service that you're doing is purely for the Ahlulbayt alayhi salam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah bless you, both of you, more and more, inshallah. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, Jazakallah for giving us this opportunity
You're
and
very
inviting us
welcome.
on to here. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. But also remember, it wasn't me. The opportunity comes from them. And I'm glad that you took it. It was really, really nice hearing you. So inshallah, hopefully I'll come back at another show as well.
Yes, inshallah.
Thanks so much. Take care. Khudafiz. And again, another phenomenal recitation. And alhamdulillah, what an amazing show and a discussion we've had today as well. Thank you once again to all the viewers. And just to end, there's an extract from Hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the one who finds me, serves me, and becomes my khadim, he becomes my servant. So with that, inshallah, we'll say Khudafis. And once again, a big shout out to Ni'ma, who are sponsoring Chai and Recite, with an amazing company with a beautiful ethos. And again, just the way that they're helping out, they're giving away a free water bottle to all our special reciters, guests, and speakers who come in on board, where you can monitor your water content and do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well throughout the day. So if you want a bottle like this, and if you haven't come on Chai and Recite this time, so please go and visit them at www.nitma.shop and see what amazing products they have. Our next episode will be on Monday, and we'll all see you then. So please stay tuned, inshallah, and we will see you all there once again. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.